and I was thinking about holiness, right? We had this idea that God's holiness is kind of a barrier between us and God. Like, he's too holy for him to accept us. That's an idea that's been floated in our neighborhoods, right?
Your sin has separated you from God, Arnold. He's too holy. He's holy and perfect God.
We're too unholy to hang out with him. The solution is he has to clean us up and make us holy so that then he can allow us to be in his presence. If, let's say, we're not holy, we're still, if we look at our own lives and we see that, well, yeah, sometimes I mess up. Sometimes I do something wrong on purpose. Sometimes, right, you fill in the blank, there's some unholiness in you, and for whatever reason, you don't think you are holy enough. Why does that scare you? The idea that God is that much holier than you. Why is that a scary idea? Why does that scare us away from God? Is because we think that holiness, his holiness compared to our unholiness, that's going to cause some kind of negative reaction and negative outcome, right? Because he has power, right? Unlimited power. He has infinite power, and that infinite power is going to manifest itself in a way that we don't like because his infinite holiness is so far above our unholiness, and we're down here, right? We're sinful. But just think about this. What is holiness? Usually we think about it as, being, law keeping, right? Like, you are holy. The law is holy, just and good. You keep the law. You walk according to the law. Like, he's always keeping the law. And us, we're unholy because we break the law. But I heard a rumor that the law is love God and love your neighbor.
Where'd you get it?
That's it. I heard some rumors
said something like that
around town, right? Right. So maybe it was this guy, some carpenter guy.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
So this was his idea, was that the law is love God, love your neighbor. So if we look at the law as simply love, being loving, and not just loving your neighbor, the nice neighbor that gives you a Christmas card that lets you borrow eggs whenever you need it, but the neighbor who yells at you, the neighbor who is mean, right? Your enemy neighbor, love that neighbor as well. If that is what it means to keep the law, and God is infinitely law-keeping, that means he is infinitely love. And if he is infinitely love, then he infinitely loves not just his friends, but he infinitely loves his enemies. Those who are at enmity with him, he infinitely loves them too. How scared do you need to be of his infinite power?
Of his holiness.
If his holiness is by definition his being loving, that's what holy means, is you are loving. You are infinitely holy. That means, God, you are infinitely loving. And if God is infinitely loving, what do I have to be afraid of?
Oh my gosh. So now all of a sudden, first of all, the first phrase that comes to my mind is, while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us, right? God demonstrated his love. God demonstrated his holiness, his law keeping, his adherence to the universal law of other-centered love, so much he demonstrates this because he died for his enemies. That's one. Second of all, and this coincides with what the carpenter said later on in his life, so be ye holy as your Father in heaven is holy. All of a sudden, that takes a whole different tint. It's not be ye holy, keep the law like your Father keeps the law, right? It is be as loving as your Father, right? It's what it actually means, right? And so then we think about Jesus saying at the very end, he goes, you know what? Let me tell you how you're going to know that these guys are aligned with me, is that they keep the law better than the guy to the left or the right. I don't think
that's not how he presented it.
How do you say it? Say it for me, Arnold.
Right,
you shall know that my disciples. Why?
Because you love each other.
Because you love each other.
So we have this idea that God is too holy for him to allow us to be in his presence, right? Because we are unholy. But really the problem is we are too unholy, or let me rephrase and reframe that in what we were just talking about. We are too unloving for us to want to be with God. He's not keeping us away because we're not holy enough. we're keeping ourselves away because we just are not loving him, right? And for whatever reason, we have all sorts of other ideas about him, right? That's not love.